Hey, welcome. This is Lori from Time for Wellness. Have you ever had your mind chitter chatter and not stop from all the thoughts and the ongoing problems in the head where you lose your night's sleep? You wake up in the middle of the night with the thoughts still happening over and over and over again, and you can't make decisions because you're looking for answers that just aren't coming. You go back and forth, and the mind just keeps going with all these thoughts and what ifs and yeah buts. Have you ever had that going on? So have I. And I didn't think there was any way to stop it. I tried meditating. I thought people were crazy and they were lying to me, because how could you actually sit and meditate and have a quiet mind? Are you kidding me? No way. I would go and walk through nature and try to listen to all the sounds of nature, and there my mind would be front and center. Chitter, 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 squawk, squawk, squawk of everything that wasn't right in my life and how could I fix it, and yada yada yada. So I struggled a long time, and major stress, lots of sleepless nights, until I finally found something super, super simple. And I have to tell you that I experience being able to walk around with actually a quiet mind. Now, I know that sounds like, no way, Lori. That's impossible. I thought so too. It's but when you do these simple steps, it's possible. And it's totally doable, and I know you can do it too. It's an experience, and your mind is not going to compute it. So check this out. Join me. I'm going to walk you through some of these steps. You know, when we witness a little kid having a temper tantrum and they're just screaming and yelling, and some throw themselves on the floor, you send them to timeout, all kinds of things, that whole scenario. Well, what is that child really looking for? Like, we all just want to be loved, right? I mean, the child might also be looking for something else, and they want that attention, or they want, whatever they have their mind focused on, and for whatever reason, they're not getting what they think they want. Usually, at the end of the day, it's all about just wanting to be loved, wanting to know that we matter, right? So our mind goes through this dialogue in our head just like this little kid. So stop for 1 minute and just notice all the thoughts in your head. Notice them. Are there thoughts coming to mind? Those repeated thoughts that keep going around and round, that you haven't gotten answers for, you haven't acted upon, whatever that is. Notice. Now, check this out. Who's noticing the thoughts? What's noticing the thought? All those thoughts that are in the mind. What or who actually is noticing that? All those thoughts. There's nobody else. It's just you. So who's actually noticing that? So now take a moment, because this is important for you to notice, be aware of. That awareness of, I have all these thoughts going on, but I'm actually paying attention to these thoughts. I'm not doing the thinking at the moment. I'm just noticing these thoughts going by. Take a minute, not even a minute, just notice a couple seconds. That's still a part of you. That's you. It's another aspect of you. So now, all these thoughts in our heads, all these concerns, all these stories going on. Now, there's a process that we can let go of all of that stuff in our head. And once we let go of it enough, the mind starts getting quieter and quieter and quieter. And once we really get rid of, erase all of that, get it back to neutral. I'm not saying that it's going to go disappear and wipe it out of our memory bank. No, it's just in a place that there's no more triggering. There's no more mind thought of constantly going round and round in our head. It's at ease. It's just in that grace place. It doesn't bother us anymore. So, but while we're working at getting there, which can be fast or it can be slow, depending upon whatever process you choose to help you do that, if you even choose to do that, this process here is working right, laser focused, boom, right to the mind to help get it quiet so we can actually hear our own inner wisdom, get our own clarity for ourselves without constantly asking for other opinion. And then we know it's the right thing for us, that intuition, that those times that, I should have followed my intuition and I knew that was going to happen. That intuition, the more we listen to that intuition, the better our life ends up being. But the mind can sabotage all of that. So let's quiet the mind. That's the problem, right? Our mind has full control and there's no quiet happening. So just like that child that's having the temper tantrum that just wants to be loved, our mind wants attention. Our mind wants to be loved. So, no matter, now you might be thinking, well, huh? Lori, you're nuts. Just play with me here and check it out. So, I want you to take a reading from the 1 to 10. 10 is how many thoughts are going through your head. Like constant, rampant thoughts. And then down to 1 as quiet. So, let's take a moment. Is your mind just reeling? Write down 10. Or whatever, wherever it is at this moment. Write that down. Okay. Take a breath. And out. And in. And out. Now that's one way to start getting the mind quiet, because we're focusing on the breath. But we can lose that focus of the breath very quickly. So, what I would like for you to do is I'm going to ask you some questions. I'm going to ask questions and I would like you to answer back. So if you can't answer out loud, just answer in your head. But have this dialogue going on. Do this exercise. If you don't get the experience, if you don't do the exercise, you won't get the experience. If you don't get the experience, you won't realize the depth of what I'm sharing with you. Okay, so could you just love your mind? And you can say yes or no. I choose to say yes. And could you love your mind even more? Yes. It's your mind. So could you love your mind even more? Yes. And even more. Yes. And even more. Yes. And could you love your mind even more? Yes. Notice we're giving our mind the attention of love. So could you love your mind even more? Yes. And even more. Yes. And even more. Yes. Notice. What are you experiencing now? Are you more quiet? Is the thoughts more calm? Not as much noise going on? Write down the number 1 to 10. Where are you at now? A little more relaxed? Okay, so now could you give your mind even more love? Yes. And that little kid's always looking for approval too, right? So could you give your mind some love and approval just because you can? For no other reason but you can. And say yes. Answer the question. And could you give your mind even more love and approval? Yes. And even more love and approval? Yes. And could you give your mind even more love and approval? Yes. And even more love and approval? Yes. Now notice. Who's giving your mind love and approval? That's that aspect of yourself that's aware of the thoughts, that's aware of the mind. That's that bigger you that always gets hidden in the shadows and in life, in the traumas and all the reactions, and in the ego. This is the egoless part of you, of who you are. That aspect. Notice that. It's very important for you to notice that aspect of you. Have you ever noticed that before? Let me know. Put in the comments. I would love to hear your numbers. I would love to hear if this is helping at all, if this makes sense. If you have questions, I'm happy to answer them. So could you give your mind, or give all those thoughts, even more love and approval? Yes. And 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 more? Yes. And now, how are you feeling? What are you experiencing? 1 to 10, write that down. I hope this was useful for you. I love helping people getting to have a quiet mind. It is such a wondrous gift to be able to experience quiet of the mind. Have a wonderful rest tonight and keep giving your mind love and approval. I'll be creating more videos on this, so hit the subscribe button to stay informed. And let me know of any questions. Love to answer them. Take care.